As someone who is no stranger to stress, anxiety, and burnout, I've spent the last couple of years finding and implementing techniques that nourish my mind and help me enjoy and live my life to the fullest. So today, I want to share with you 10 things that continue to improve my mental health. I've made myself this cup of chocolate tea. I love chocolate tea and it's also my comfort tea, and I thought it's perfect for today's conversation, which is mental health. So before we get into the video, I can share a little bit of my own history with mental health. I think my kind of worst years, if you can say that mentally, was like 21, 22. It was just that age where, you know, you just finish uni and you're supposed to figure out everything about your life. I had the same dreams and the same aspirations, and I was very much dedicated, and from the outside you could never tell, but mentally I found myself so often stressing, you know, crying, being sad. And I know that sometimes when you're feeling really low, really often, for a long time, it kind of feels like you will always be this way, but I'm here to tell you that that's not true, and that by doing certain things in your life, you can absolutely change your mental state and live in just joy, honestly. So the first step is stop comparing. I honestly believe that the more we compare ourselves with others, the less happy we become. I cannot think of a situation where comparing yourself to someone else results in something good, because inspiration and comparison are two different things. We can always look at others and get inspired, but the minute we compare our lives, nothing good comes out. And if I think of the instances where I have been the most sad or depressed or stressed or anxious, very often it was because I was comparing myself to someone else or an idea of someone else or how I should act. And it's almost like you start to compete with that version, and you're basically subconsciously telling yourself that you, as you are, you're not enough. You're just not enough. Have you ever had a moment where you think, oh, I look good. I look really good. But then you compare yourself to someone, and then you look at yourself again and you're like, I look awful. This is what comparison does. And I even saw, I hope if I will find it, I will insert it here. I saw a TikTok, my friend sent it to me.
See this photo, a beautiful twilight. Now watch what happens when the photographer edits it. Let's pause it. Incredible, right? Look at the colors. Look at it, keep looking at it. But perhaps most importantly, look what happens when you go back to the original image. It almost looks a bit dingy by comparison, right? Same photo that was beautiful at the beginning, kind of looks a bit shit now.
Basically what the experiment showed us is how our perception changes, and it's almost sometimes distorted. And I think it's damaging our society. I think it's I can't say damaging. I think it's damaging women, and I think it's damaging young girls especially. I just wanna really put it out there how important it is to stop comparing yourself. There is no one out in this world like you. No one. Physically, mentally, emotionally, no one. You will waste your life, you will waste your skills, your talent, your years on thinking about that comparison, on thinking about someone else. And when you're old and when you're looking back, you will regret it, I promise you. So stop comparing. Find power within you. Find what you love about yourself. Work on that. If there is something that you don't like about yourself, that is fine. Just check in with yourself. What is this place? Like, where is this coming from? Do I don't like it because I honestly think it's not good for me, or I don't like it because of a society idea, or because someone else doesn't have what I have or has what I don't have. Just really be honest with yourself and stop looking around. Stop focusing on others. Focus on yourself. Love you and nourish you. That was a long one. I'm really sorry, but also I'm not sorry because I feel like this is an honest conversation and you just get to see a part of me, and that part is I talk a lot. You have no idea how much I edit out. I talk way more than I actually post on the videos. I just can't stop talking. Number 2 is take long walks. There's so much to say about long walks, but I will stick to this. It does something to you chemically and mentally. It opens up your mind, it frees your mind. The walking gets rid of so many unnecessary junk that is in your head, and it just allows you to think clearly. Obviously, this actually goes to any exercise, but because we are all different and we can really manage different levels of exercise, walking is the best one because it's the most sustainable for everyone. You know, we all walk, so we can all do it. Almost all of us. I always recommend walks. They are gentle, they are low impact, but they, as any exercise, release endorphins, and movement is so good for everything. You know, anything that happens physically when we move, it also moves our emotional state, our mental state, and it's just really, really good for our mental health. And I can honestly say, and I've mentioned this in my walking challenge video, that something magical clicks in my brain after walking about 30-40 minutes. I can't explain it, but it's always 30 or 40 minutes. They pass and my mind just opens up. I see the world more positively, and it's one of those things that have really, really helped and continues to help my mental health. Number 3 is meditate. I have meditated a lot in the past. I'm not as frequent with it currently, but I have kind of implemented it back in my life. It's kind of like an on and off thing because I've found that meditation can be a lot of things. I mentioned walking as the second point. Walks can also be very meditative. I don't know if you can say that, but they give you that feeling. But obviously the most basic form of meditation is to sit down in quiet and free your mind and try to just sit still for a couple of minutes or how much you can do it. Now, what this does, it basically frees your mind and it gets rid, again, of any junk you have inside. It's obviously a practice. It's not always that easy, but the more you do it, you kind of learn how to be in control of your mind. As we know, a lot of problems, mental health problems, come from our mind thinking of just the worst scenarios or talking to us and saying mean stuff to us. So what meditation does, it kind of helps you learn how to be in control of your mind and not the other way around. Number 4 is cut out toxicity. It does not serve you. I used to think that it's like a hard thing to do because sometimes toxic energies or toxic vibes, toxic people can be people that are close to you, you know? Sometimes it can be a family member or a close relative, and how can you cut it out? But then I realized that it doesn't have to be like a dramatic show where you stand up and you're like, I'm cutting you out. No, you can just distance yourself from that energy, and it's actually really easy. So take a look at your life and think, do I have people in my life, toxic people in my life that are just not good for me? And here's the thing, it's not always like in the movies where a villain is a villain. People are, you know, very multifaceted. I have distanced myself from people who are not necessarily bad people. They just, something in their energy doesn't click with mine, doesn't make me feel good, and why would I keep that in my life? And I can't even begin to explain how much better my life has gotten since I've been like, no bad vibes. Like, it's a simple sentence and sometimes we joke around like, no bad energy, no bad vibes, but it is so, so true. When you're kind of like, I'm protecting this, you are really standing up for yourself. Which brings us to number 5, which is stand up for yourself. One of the most important things that will benefit your mental health is learning how to set boundaries and be like, nope, nope, yes, nope. Imagine your mental health as kind of like a little child and you're protecting that child and you're being like, this isn't working for me and this is working for me. And by learning how to really do that, you will become closer to yourself, and it is so important for your mental health to develop that relationship. Number 6 is socialize. When I had my, I wanna say, most depressive moments, I wanted to curl up, not see anyone, not go anywhere, and I can tell you that the more I did it, the worse my mental health got. I think isolation from the world and from people is really bad for your mental health. I think that's why during the whole COVID thing and self-quarantine thing, we saw that many people struggle with mental health because we need people. We are social animals. I know that you might be feeling like you don't want to see anyone and no one understands what you're going through and no one will ever understand, and your problems are your problems, because this is how I felt. I felt like I can't be seen with anyone because I can't. I want to curl up and be alone. And obviously you can do that for some time if you feel like this is what you need that personal space. But be careful, because too much isolation doesn't lead to any good. When I started to kind of battle my inner demons and started to really work on my mental health and started to think about what makes me happy, I realized that meeting people and sharing your struggles, obviously people that you trust, sharing struggles, sharing what you go through really only enriches your life. I think it's just something for humans, and that's why it makes us feel good. We are social animals, we're kind of packed animals. And even if you are an introvert, I think it's good to go out for once in a while, just because you also are making yourself to get out of your head, which is what your mental health needs to free your mind. And socializing is a really good way to do that. Next up, we have be around people that make you feel like you. And pay attention that I did not say be around good people. Why? Because we all have a different idea of what good is. And just because someone is good by the books doesn't mean that that person is necessarily good for you or benefiting your energy or your mental health. What I mean by be around people that make you feel like you is you as your higher self, like you that you know you are inside the best of you. And when you are around people who do that, oh my gosh, it's the best feeling in the world. I think life is too short to spend your life with people who are not your people. And I know it's sometimes easier to think, well, I don't want to be alone, so I will just stick with these people. But I'm like, nope, I'd rather have 2 friends, but friends that are just my people and that make me feel so good about who I am, than have 10 friends who are like, okay, and like good, but don't get me at all. Go out there and stick to the people that you feel like really know you and love you for who you are. A little tea break. Number 8, add a glimmer to your trigger. Now, we all know that triggers are something that we see or hear or are exposed to that does something negative to our mind and makes us remember something or feel something negative. Whereas a glimmer is the opposite of that. They are little things that can give us a positive feeling. So for example, my trigger sometimes is when I'm feeling bad and I'm on TikTok, and you know, if there's like a pretty girl or like doing her hair or makeup, I will immediately compare the way I look to that girl. And I have learned that instead of kind of going into that self-destructive behavior, which I used to go into because that was my trigger, and then I would sit for hours and compare the way I looked, which is like so unhealthy when I say it out loud, but it's the truth. I realized that what helps me is, first of all, turning that trigger off, and then my glimmer would be writing. When I write out everything that I'm feeling, it's kind of like I'm releasing a certain energy and I can move on with my day. And actually lately, journaling has been very, very therapeutic for me, and I love it so much. But basically, you have to figure out what is your glimmer, like what is the opposite of your triggers, and how you can basically implement them the minute that you feel like a trigger is coming up. It can be, you know, calling your friend. It can be, you know, going on a quick walk. It can be journaling. It can be watching a good TV show. It can be cooking, anything basically that you feel like does the opposite to your trigger. Number 9 that has helped my mental health, that continues to help my mental health, and I actually use this a lot. I understand that it will pass. This is such a powerful thought that has really changed my perception of everything, positive and negative. The older you get, actually, maybe this comes with age, the more you look back at your life, you look back at bad events and you realize that they passed, and good events also passed, which means whatever you're feeling now, it will pass. Life keeps flowing. So there's no reason to kind of focus your mind on the negative, because it will pass. And this is something that I say to myself whenever I'm feeling a little bit sad, or especially if my period is coming, I get very emotional and I'm like, this will pass. This is just a phase. Life will get better or happier. And that's just something that you can use, like a little line to say to yourself when something difficult happens. Just say, it will pass. It will pass, like everything in life. And number 10, and something that probably is the biggest game changer of all, this can honestly shift your mental state, your physical state, your spiritual state, everything, is do what you love and follow your passion, whatever that is. Nothing will degrade and make your mental health worse than doing something that you don't love. When I think about the time in my life where my mental health was really shitty, it was because inside I wanted to do something that I really, really wanted to do, like follow my passion, my dream in life, and I didn't do it. And nothing will make you more miserable than doing something that you don't love. So if you're in a place where you know that this is not your path, before you even try all the other tips that I told you, first and foremost, understand or look for, or, you know, search for in yourself, or, you know, whatever resources you use, what do you want in life, and follow that passion. You have to fill your soul with something that you're passionate about and something that you love, because it doesn't matter how many walks you take, how much you meditate, you sleep, you drink water and be around good people. If you spend your daily life 8 hours, 5 hours a day, whatever, think about how much that is in a week, like 40 hours a week or more, doing something that you don't love, none of those things will truly, truly matter. So I really wish, and I kind of want to give this to anyone out there who feels like they really want to do something else. Risk it, do it, try it. You don't have to like quit your daytime job. Let's say you want to do some kind of a thing that doesn't pay that well, but you can implement it as a hobby. And life is meant to be lived. I don't think that people were put on this planet to kind of just slave around and just earn money. I feel like that's such a sad thing, and I truly recommend that you find something that you love and follow that passion. As this tea is coming to an end, this video is coming to an end as well. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found these tips helpful. If you have any other cool tips or something from your life that has enriched your mental health, don't be afraid to share in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.